So what brings you in today?
Trust me in all that you do. Have the faith I have in you. Love will see us through if only you trust in me. Why don't you trust me? Come to me when things go wrong. Cling to me, Daddy, and I'll be strong. We can get along, we can get along. Oh, if only you trust in me. While there's a moon on high, well, there are birds to fly. While there is you and I can be sure that I love you. Stand beside me all the while. Come on, Daddy, face the future. Why don't you smile? Trust in me, and I'll be worthy of you.
We having issues.
Well, I appreciate that you came in today.
Okay.
Yeah. So what is it that you'd like to talk about?
Creative differences.
It's not creative differences. It's like you need to learn how to make space and be in a partnership. You're not a bachelor anymore.
Okay, well, you're not a dictator.
For me to ask you to listen is not the same thing as being a dictator.
What's the difference between listening and being authoritarian?
It's not being authoritarian to tell you what I'm feeling and noticing. If I'm having a problem, that's not being authoritarian. If I'm telling you that it's not your way, all the time, that's not being an authoritarian person. Maybe you're the one trying to be a fucking tyrant and you don't like the fact that you have to compromise now because you are in a marriage. It is a partnership.
Really didn't get that one, but I'm gonna roll with that one. But you can't.
He's being nice now because you're
But
here.
you can't build the structure and then say, okay, this is the way we're gonna lay the brick. This is the way we're gonna put the windows up. This is the way we're gonna put the doors up.
Oh, now you're talking about the tiles. Okay, so we redid the bathrooms. I wanted a pink bathroom. I wanted one room in the house that was feminine and clean and pretty because our house is like a fucking storage unit, okay? And I'm not saying it's all you, it's both of us. We're artists, we're a little bit chaotic, fine. But I just wanted one room, pink, white, soft, simple.
How many rooms in the house?
One room I wanted that was just clean. And he goes and puts up these tiles without asking me. And then I was very nice about it. I was like, I appreciate your effort with the tiles. It's just not the color I want. Oh, he didn't want to talk to me for 2 hours.
She's not really telling you why I didn't want to talk.
Would it be okay if I heard why? Would that be okay?
Oh, I would love to fucking hear why too.
Okay,
So
well, let me
it
ask
wasn't
you.
okay.
How many variations of pink are there? And I'm gonna just leave it at that, okay?
I'd actually like to hear about that.
Well, first of all, we're talking about if we're two creative people and you give me that reign of being creative, to me, I should be getting somewhat of a blank slate because there's nothing really etched in stone. But it's when I go into my variations, this is when she says, well, I want this kind of pink, not a soft pink, but a hard pink. And pretty soon you got 4,000 pinks in your head. So where is the balance in that? That's what the other creative artist doesn't see. She has this big old plate of what she exactly wants. I mean, pink pink or pink or pink or pink.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's no end to getting it right.
So is it accurate to say that there's a part of you that felt in this situation that you just couldn't get it right?
To a certain degree,
Mm-hmm.
it's like that 60% of the time. And that's where we run into this big clash.
So that 60% of the time, there's this part of you that's feeling like, I can't get it right.
Well, you know, like I say, there's always a variation. And she failed to mention, how many more rooms did I paint in the house?
What does that got to do with this?
It has a lot to do with because in every room that the so-called one you wanted, you always got to have your hand in everything I do.
I didn't say shit about the other bathroom, which you went off and did your thing, which is fine. I liked it. I didn't say shit about the fireplace. But you go and
Because
take all
those are
these
the
steps
things
and
that you
don't
like.
even
That was
talk
the
to
thing
me.
that you like. That's the thing that you like. That's
Yeah,
the one
I
thing you
wouldn't
like.
like what's in my house.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't think that's a problem.
I mean, you got the front porch. That's yours.
Okay.
I even did it in everything I thought that fit you.
Yes, but don't you understand? You can talk to me. I actually have opinions, and if you're not sure, you could ask me a question instead of going and doing it and then getting all mad.
Well,
When
I
I
figured
don't like
once
it.
I etch it in stone, you can't move it. So.
Yeah, see? You see? That's the little passive aggressive shit he pulled. He just went ahead and put the tiles up, spent the money and the time, okay? Instead of stopping first and asking, well, what color tiles
But it
are you
worked.
thinking
But
about?
it worked.
You think it
But
worked.
it worked.
I don't like them.
Okay.
I do not like them.
Okay, but you said you want a natural, right?
In
Did
the
I
other
not-
bathroom, see, you didn't listen to me. The second bathroom was supposed to be natural.
The
Plants
second
all over the
bathroom,
wall.
which is what? Your bathroom. I can't even fit in the damn tub.
So what? That's not my fault.
Let me see, you
The
got
house
the
came
porch,
with that tub.
but you got the porch and you got the bathroom.
And you have your own bedroom.
Okay, so as usual, what room
But
you on now?
You keep
What
you
room
keep
you
adding.
on?
See, you say I add shit, but you're adding on shit. We were talking
not
about
adding on
one
anything.
bathroom and the pink tiles, and how you failed to ask me about what color tiles I wanted. I don't think that is such a big deal.
I put those tiles in the colors you asked for.
No, you didn't. All I said was
Is
tiles.
anything on
together.
that damn fireplace in reference to you?
All right.
Is there anything in there?
So is this how it goes at home?
Yes,
But she didn't ask the question.
because a part of him. Am I right or am I right? You fight in this very ghetto manner where you just try to jump on top of me. You don't fucking stop and try to solve the problem. You just try to win.
Why you gotta be ghetto?
That's how you act.
I took this suburban approach.
Well, I'm wondering if it's possible that we might want to table the issue of whether it's ghetto or suburban. Maybe we could just not
Yeah.
try to figure that out right now.
She's just trying to find these definitive words to try to suppress me.
You know we've had this conversation. You're trying to act like you don't remember the conversation we
What's the
had.
conversation? What was the conversation?
When we talked about that part of you that fights in a way that is not fair. You're
Oh,
fighting
yeah,
to
okay.
win and to dominate. You even said it.
It's the dogs, right? The dog effect. Where the dogs come in and they take
I'm your
over.
partner. I'm not your enemy.
I never said you was.
Well,
but
you act like that sometimes. Like I'm trying to defeat you.
I didn't say you were trying to defeat me, but damn, can I have something, some kind of say so?
Yeah,
Can you
have
let me say?
half
Can you
the
let me
house.
take? How about me taking the risk sometimes and you living with it, saying, okay, at least you put forth the effort.
Okay.
Instead
and
of,
guess
I
what?
can't-
On the porch, in the second bathroom, in the living room, in the office, you took a risk and I went with it. We're talking
Okay.
about one room. I'm unhappy with the tiles, and he can't deal with that.
It was the tone of pinks.
It matters.
So I hear that this is an important conversation about what happened in the house. Would you say that's accurate? That it's a conversation that you'd like to be able to have?
because it's symbolic of a lot of other things that happen.
Okay. So I'm wondering if you guys might be game to try it a little bit differently.
I have no problem with that. As long as it's going in the right direction, I'm good with that.
Okay. So what I'd like to do, first of all, is have one person speak and the other person listen. And the listener's job is to make sure that they're really able to listen. So it's actually kind of a hard job to be the listener. So who feels more available to be the listener and do the harder job first?
Come on now. Am I the listener now?
I'm asking you guys to feel inside yourself to see, do I feel like I have it in me to really be open to what the other person is saying?
I'll listen.
Yeah.
I'm up for this challenge.
Okay.
Trust me.
And how does that sound to you?
I mean, I'm skeptical, but we'll see.
I
Okay.
will listen.
Okay. And then if at any time, Ra, there's a part of you that's coming up that's really taking you out, making it really hard to hear her, just put your hand up and let me know, okay? Because the whole idea is for you guys to be able to have this conversation, because it's a really important conversation, but in a way where you both feel heard. And if you're really feeling like you're not hearing her, then what are we doing?
Right?
Yeah.
This is my first practice.
How did it go?
I'm gonna try it again.
Is there anything that's coming up for you just in anticipation of really listening to what's going on with Jessie? Anything at all, any parts that are coming up for you?
I love her, but I just think there's a times where Jessie goes out of focus and then she comes back in focus. But a lot of times when she comes back
Okay, wait, I'm gonna stop you. What I want from you is to just hear about the parts of you that come up, not about Jessie, not about this issue, but just the parts who make it hard for you to listen.
Okay.
So what kind of things come up for you when you think about listening to what she has to say?
Protect yourself
Mm-hmm.
and snap back without even taking it in.
Right.
Just swing. Don't worry if you hit anything. Just protect yourself. I feel like I have to protect myself right away.
So just right away it comes up this, I gotta protect myself.
I gotta protect myself.
Yeah. And so could you maybe pick a puppet to be that part?
I can do that.
Yeah.
Let me see. That's what I'm working with.
So this
Good
one,
old Jaws.
Jaws comes up.
Right.
And what does that one say to you inside of you?
It's basically saying, hey, pick the target that's on the beach that's causing that problem.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just kind of drag it out to the water and see if it can swim back without half its body,
Great.
no leg, no arm.
Great.
Salvage it later.
Salvage it later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you feel towards that part of you? That just
Sometimes it eats good things. I really don't want it to mangle. I don't want it to mangle it. I just want you to just suppress it, not rip it apart.
So this part is really trying to protect you from whatever might come up that might be threatening to you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But the inner being in the thing that's protecting me has no conscience and no feelings. Mm-hmm. All it knows is that's what we're gonna suppress, and I'm going straight out there, and you're gonna have to pick the pieces up later when it's all over.
Yep. And what's it like just to realize that this part is here?
It's hard to sleep with because that I know the way I feel. That's not exactly what I want to do. You know, I don't want to go out and grab Jessie and sling her all over the beach and hey, you know, I'd like to be sitting there rubbing suntan oil on her, but it's people screaming, running around, blood everywhere. Ain't really what I called myself doing, you know, in those episodes.
So basically, there's you yourself,
Right.
and then there's this part,
Right.
and you really are not the same.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
It's like this part just comes up and takes over you.
Exactly.
And it's not really how you'd like to be, but that's just what's happening now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no flag, you know, there's no referee, there's nobody stepping in. It's my inner securities to the situation, the way Jessie approaches me about things, that, you know, it's like having a personal bodyguard inside you.
Yeah.
There could be several types, but there's one on this beach I know is good old Jaws.
So Jaws is like this main bodyguard. You really know this one.
He's really not the main one, but he's up there.
Yeah. So for sure, it sounds to me like just getting to know that you have this part is something that's going to be helpful for you guys in terms of how you start to change how you listen to each other and how you work things out with each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's how I feel.
Oh, I know that part very well. Very well.
You do?
Yes.
Have I ever slung you all over the beach yet?
Yes.
Oh. Who cleaned up?
Me.
Wow. How many bandages? Stitches?
I lost count.
Oh.
I mean, that's why we're here.
Okay.
I'm sick of getting slung around the beach when I'm just trying to address and solve the problem. I don't see how I could come at you any more calmly or reasonably.
As long as it's benefiting you.
So what I like to do is to see how you can be a little bit more in relationship with this, what do you call that protector?
Jaws.
Yeah. So it sounds like Jaws just jumps up and takes control and wreaks havoc on the beach, and suddenly, you know, it's a bloodbath instead of a fun day at the beach. And instead, if you could somehow begin to get to know that part so that he wouldn't have to like take you over completely.
Okay.
All right.
More or less like you just come over and you see the fin, he'd be like, oh, that's what you on.
Yeah, like you see the fin, you're like, oh, I know you, but that you might be able to get a little bit of separation
Maybe
between
I
you
could
and
say,
him.
Jessie, you see the fin?
I see the fin.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I know, Jessie, I hear that you have parts. You tell me if this is accurate. That when they see the fin, your parts start to come up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So maybe it might be a good idea to actually just talk about that dynamic that goes on between you guys, where this part comes up in Ra, and then we look at what are the parts that come up in you. Okay. All right. So, Ra, do you still feel comfortable with kind of trying to just keep it at the fin level?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but if for some reason suddenly Jaws feels like he's gonna attack, can you just hold your hand up and we'll just do a timeout?
That'll work.
Okay. All right.
That'll work. I can do that.
Okay. All right. So, Jessie, when you see the fin, what comes up in you?
Well, right away, I just know that it's going to be really hard to get anywhere because already he's on the attack and he's trying to win. And so.
And can I stop you right there? Is that okay? I was wondering if we could change your language just a little bit. Would it be okay if you said that Jaws is on the attack?
Okay.
Instead of him?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just try that again.
Okay, so when Jaws is on the attack, I mean, I know right away because he starts talking faster, he starts interrupting me, you know, he doesn't listen to anything, and he starts switching subjects really fast. Like he switches it up. He just it's like Jaws churns up the water, you know.
Jaws is churning the water.
So particularly if I have more valid points, he just churns it up more. So that instead of stopping and just dealing with one point, he throws out 20 more points and I can't keep up. And then I start to even, like I can't even process what the fuck he's saying to me. So I get so confused, like I can't even address what the hell he's talking about. And all I wanted to talk about was this one thing, like the tiles.
Yeah.
You know?
And is it okay? Is it okay if we actually don't talk about the tiles right now and we just talk about just this dynamic?
Yeah,
between
that's
the two?
fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So when it comes up, then it just feels like there's no communication anymore.
I'm just noticing, Ra, that there's some parts coming up for you that maybe are making it a little hard to listen? Is there anything that's coming up for you?
There's a few things coming up because right away, you know, I'm like, where Jaws at? Because I might need you to come over here and check this situation.
So Jaws is feeling a little bit like he wants to protect you right now.
He starts swinging the tail. Where you at?
His tail is going a little bit.
But he ain't on attack. I just need to keep an eye abreast of where he at in the water.
Well, is there anything, is it okay if I just check in with Ra? Because I want him to be able to hear you. Then if he's not, then it's the same old thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're feeling he's swinging his tail a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. And is there anything that, you know, you need to say for him or he needs to say just to feel like, to help calm him down a little bit?
My thing is that I have this Jaws, so to speak, thing within me.
Mm-hmm.
We need to ask her what she has that replaces my Jaws when she goes into her mode.
That is an outstanding point. And that is exactly what we're getting to. We are definitely going to get to that because we will.
Meanwhile, I don't have suntan oil on my hands right now.
Well, is there anything else that you might need, Ra, just to feel a little bit more comfortable to really be able to listen?
I'm good. I know where he at.
Well, I'm just curious. Could we just take a moment to just check in? Just to see if there's anything else that you really just might need to speak for.
She trying to make this sound so pretty.
What
It's
do you
not. She trying to make it seem pretty.
So is it okay if I just tweak your language a little bit?
Okay.
So there's a part, you feel you have a part of you that's saying to you, she's trying to make this sound pretty. That's what that part's telling you. Could you pick a puppet for that part?
Try to.
Yeah.
The part that I would believe would be this, the whale. Total opposite of the shark.
Okay.
It's massive.
Uh-huh.
It has a aggressive look,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not getting ready to attack anybody. It's just out there, just wailing around.
Just wailing
Just
around.
wailing around, yeah.
Uh-huh. And what is it doing while it's wailing around?
It's just enjoying everything that's right there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part of me. But it knows you coming with that harpoon to spear me. It knows that. So it's vulnerable also.
It's vulnerable.
Yes.
It's feeling vulnerable.
Yeah. I'm that whale out there just wondering when that harpoon is coming.
Mm. And so there's just a little bit of a feeling of vulnerability that was coming up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so the shark was kind of wanting to protect that vulnerability.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So now that you've spoken for the whale and just kind of said a little bit about what's going on for it, is there anything else that it needs, or did it just really need to be spoken for?
It just needs to be spoken for.
Yeah.
You know, because it is a very big part of what's going on besides the all-out protect yourself. There's reasoning behind why it wants to be protected.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to say about it, or?
Well, one of the things I see is that, you know, the reason why he shows up and the reason why this vulnerable being is out there trying to understand that it's vulnerable is that it's trying to figure out what characters come up within her that causes me to go into the attack and the protection and everything else that goes along with it.
That makes good sense, and that's exactly what we want to do. We want to find out when you have these parts come up in you,
Right.
Jaws comes up, then what happens for Jessie, and what kind of cycle do you enter into? That's exactly what we want to look into.
Okay.
So would it be okay now for us to hear a little bit more about what comes up with Jessie?
Oh yeah, we can do that.
All right.
We can do that.
Yeah. So Jessie, what does come up for you?
I feel frustrated and I feel overwhelmed and I feel hopeless because I'm just trying to address a particular problem, I'm not trying to harpoon anybody, but at the same time, I can't just let him walk all over me because he's feeling sensitive. I mean, I have feelings too, and I feel like I have a right to have a say in the situation. So it's like, you know, even if I pull it down and bring it down like 15 notches and I address him in the most calm way, he comes with this because no matter what I say, it's like this part is, I don't know, so sensitive or whatever that he feels like this has to always be up there. And it's like either I agree with everything and just go along into everything's fine, but it's not. Or I try to express that I have an issue or a problem with something, and then I get this. Even though I'm not trying to kill him, I'm just trying to say what's going on for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Would it be okay if we really try to break it down and see what parts exactly come up for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's one that you notice that comes up?
Well, I feel frustrated and overwhelmed. And at a certain point, I feel hopeless because...
Hey, can I stop you right there?
Uh-huh.
So, would it be okay if we pick 3 parts just for those 3 feelings right there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Need some help?
Here's overwhelmed.
Okay.
Here's hopeless
Hmm.
and
Leave
frustrated.
him right here, cause you might have to. They don't have any assholes in there. You gotta keep picking.
What about the lion?
So this will be my frustrated part. This will be my overwhelmed part, and this will be the hopeless part.
Just to say, that's really a lot that comes up all at once, right in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even count the part that's just trying to talk about what's happening. Who's that gonna be?
And we're gonna need a bigger table.
Just trying to communicate what's going on.
She gonna get Jesus.
Is that Jesus for you, or who is that for you?
Well, it does feel like a persecuted part, I'll say that much. It's not really Jesus, it's not like it has such an inflated sense of self, but that part of me is just trying to say something in the most neutral, calm way possible, and no matter what, getting slashed. So that's when this part comes up and is trying to protect everybody. And then this is like the part that's overwhelmed because looking at this going on and this guy coming forward, this part is just like, this is crazy. How can we ever process this? You know, and this is getting faster and faster. And then this is the hopeless part that wants to just retreat into the shell and just give up.
Well, what's coming up for you right now, Ra? What was that? What just came
Asshole
up right
part.
now? Well, is it okay? I just want to check in with you, Ra. What came up right there just when she was talking? What was coming up for you?
Cause she trying to make it all valid about what I'm doing.
What do you mean?
It's like I'm just attacking all the time.
So, is it okay if I slow you guys down? We'll just take a breath, just right now, just. So, there's a part of you, is it okay if I change the language to this part?
That's good, that's good.
That feels like she's just saying that I'm attacking all the time.
Yeah, I mean, she's saying it. Like, there's no rhyme or reason why she's getting attacked.
So that's what that part is saying to you.
Exactly, but she's not getting to the root of why I'm on the attack.
And we're going to get to that, and I agree with you that that's important. And
let me pull all my little stuff back.
I also, though, I want you to have all your people on the table too. So I'm thinking that this is another part, this one that tells you, that says, you know, what does that one exactly tell you?
It's kind of hard to figure that one out because it changes.
This part, right, it just came up right now. It just came up.
Because there are things that are missing. There's some valid things that are missing in this conversation.
Okay. So could you pick a puppet for that part?
What type of puppet would I be picking though? That's my thing.
It's because this one is saying this to you, like it's almost like it's on your shoulder and saying, hey, there's something missing, and you tell me if this is accurate, Rob. When that part starts speaking and coming up,
Right.
what do you do or say to Jessie?
I'd be like, this bitch crazy. She missing shit all the time.
So there's this real feeling of, would you say it's almost an urgency that you really want her to get to the issue?
It's like I just came out, grabbed you by the neck, slung you all over the beach because I had no valid reason not to do it.
Right, so it's a part that feels like it wants you to be understood.
Exactly. I mean, there's a logic to why, like there's a method to the madness.
Totally. So we definitely want to get to that.
She do look cute today, don't she?
She does. So what I want to see is I want to see that part along with your other parts. The one that says, something's missing.
The zebra. The zebra. It's gotta be the zebra.
Why does it have to be the zebra?
Because you can see a zebra anywhere on the Serengeti. That zebra is gonna be there. Everything else is brown, natural color, murky. But a zebra, you can always see the stripes. So it's saying something. So when I put up zebra, you can't miss him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, duh, zebra is here. You can't miss him. I know you see him because everybody wants to attack the zebra, right? That's what I see. And he has something to say.
What does he have to say?
Just his presence alone is saying, hey, can you see me? But can you hear me? Seeing is one thing, but hearing is another.
So he really wants you to be heard. He really wants for Jessie to really get why you have to do the things that you have to do, that your parts feel you have to do. Yeah.
Because I put up the first two situations, I'm attacking you, slinging you all over the beach. You can't understand why you in body parts now. But at the same time, he kind of feels, a little sensitive about the situation, realizes, ooh, it's way more blood than I thought it was going to be. But at the same time, I don't want to go in and tell you because you might throw a harpoon and take me out.
Right.
So then, zebra's on the sideline looking like, hey, here's where I come in. Hey, time out. You see me? You just need to hear me.
Yeah.
That would cut the bloodshed down.
It would cut the bloodshed down.
Right.
If you could just be heard.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So that's what we want to find out. We want to find out exactly what happens in the dynamic between you two guys, like in a figure eight.
Exactly.
You have these parts, and then what parts come up in Jessie, and then what parts of those bring up in you. So that's what we're trying to do, just track what
Right.
happens.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jessie, what does come up for you?
He's so busy worrying about him getting attacked that before I can even tell him where I'm coming from, he's on to another attack or another defensive posture or another defense mechanism.
So can I interrupt you there?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you're using that word. What word are you using?
Attack?
He.
Oh, these parts of him are on the attack.
Yeah. And when you say that, I just want to check in with Ra. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
So Ra, how does that impact you?
It's personal. It's personal, and sometimes I tend to take it personal. It may not be personal. Maybe it's just me. My perception of what she's actually telling me. Maybe I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it might be me, but I don't know. But I just know when all these things happen, what I go into.
Yeah. So if we can keep it so that more of the time when you guys are both talking,
Right.
that you're speaking about each other's parts
Right.
instead of the other person, would that be helpful?
It'd be a lot better.
Yeah. So that's just one thing, and you guys can take that home with you as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Jessie, you can go for that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right. So then, what is coming up for this part?
Well, this part comes up that feels like this martyr because, I mean, you don't know that much about my husband yet, but, you know, believe it or not, I know a lot of reasons why all that is coming up, and it has nothing to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
That's shit from 3 decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
I can't control it, I can't fix it. And it gets brought into stuff in present day time that I really am trying to resolve. And it's like an argument about tiles in the bathroom goes back to something that happened 30 years ago. You know, and I'm not saying it doesn't do it for me too. So it's like when all these parts come up and I just feel totally hopeless, then this other part comes up that feels like a martyr because I'm constantly having to go on the back foot, like trying to back down and calm down, and like, oh, then there's the other part where I'm just fucking furious because it's like, it's just not fair to me.
So this part says it's just not fair to me.
This part says it's just not fair to me, and then I need to find this other part to represent. This is the part that then just really wants to throw my husband out the fucking window, because this part is like, he is being so selfish. He is so focused on himself. He can't even take one
time because
He
she's
has
going
parts.
back. No,
Wait,
no.
He has parts.
Is it okay? We did ask him that he would speak up if he couldn't hear you.
But this is
I
what this
know.
part is getting mad about,
I
because
hear
he
you.
never
So
can
this-
hear me.
Conflict.
So
He never can fucking hear me.
But she not listening now. You made a rule.
But it was my turn.
But she made a rule.
yeah.
If I felt, and the reason why is we go back to me, he, or part. Continue. She's violating the part rule.
Okay.
Either it's going to be he
I
or
will.
part.
I will restate
Okay.
my point.
Grab your little swan, start swinging.
I'm not swinging.
Well, okay. So can we just slow this down a little bit right now?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Breaks.
Yeah, it's good. Put a little brakes on it. So, Ra, I really appreciate that you did exactly what I asked you to do. He raised his hand. He said, "I'm not hearing you right now," and I want him to be able to hear you.
Me too.
Yeah. So I really appreciate.
But
that
you don't
did
think
that.
she hit me under the belt? I mean, okay, I'm not trying to get you to be the referee, but she went back 30 years. Then he, then husband. Who's really listening to the rules?
So what
Okay.
I
still love you, but you know it's rules. You just gotta go by it. Even Monopoly, you gotta go by the rules.
So what I'm hearing is that there's a part of you that's feeling like I'm really not being as aggressive a referee for the rules.
No, I don't know. You're being a good referee, but she has to abide by those. That was a rule that was set before both of us.
Mm-hmm.
You said, didn't you hear her, right?
I made an error. I
All right.
apologize.
No problem.
So-
I still love you.
So what was exactly the error that you felt that you made? I just want to be real clear.
Well, my understanding is that I said he instead of parts of him.
Is that it, Rob?
Husband, keep going.
So Jessie, what's coming up for that part right there that you picked?
Okay. When parts of my husband start to do all this where he's attacking me and being defensive, my martyr part feels very sad and defeated. And then I have this angry part that comes up that wants to attack back and just gets really angry because I feel like parts of him are addressing the situation because of a worldview that they established 10, 20, 30 years ago at a time that I didn't even know my husband, and I have no control over that. I can't get him to slow down. I can't get him to listen when these parts of him come up. So then when all this happens, a part of me just wants to start swinging back to protect myself and just to release some of the anger and frustration that I feel, because you know, I'm his wife. I can't be his therapist too. You know, who's going to be my therapist?
So that's what this part says.
This part is really trying to defend me.
So when this part comes up, what do you say or do to Ra?
Well, another part comes up, actually. And this part is like, let's just get the fuck out of here. And I'll leave the room. Because otherwise, because this part is basically trying to stop this part from doing what it really wants to do, which is really, I want to smack him. Which on a couple of occasions has happened. So this part is like, let's leave the room. Let's try to calm down. Let's have a timeout. Because if this part takes over, I know that his shark part is just going to escalate. And I really don't want it to come down to these two parts. Because it's just going to be ugly. You know? It's just going to be ugly. And it's not going to solve the problem. You know? And again, that's why this part and this part, they just feel so desperate, because it's like no matter how calmly I come at him, his parts perceive it as an attack. Even if it's not a personal attack, it's about an issue that isn't even really personal at all.
Okay, so let me see if I get a little bit of what goes on here in this figure eight. So you bring something up, and then Ra, when she has some parts or something's going on over here, and you have some parts that come up fast. Because is it true about the Jaws guy that he comes up fast?
Yeah, he's coming up, yeah.
He's coming up fast.
Right.
And in the distance, there's the whale. He's trying to protect the whale. And there's also maybe the zebra over here that's like, hey, you know, I want my side of things to be heard.
Right.
So that's what's going on for you. And when all that comes up for you, what do you say? Like, what's the very first thing that happens? What do you say or do? Just out of all that, what is the first thing that happens?
It's like throwing the first punch. I'm not going to let it go for 5 minutes. If I can get you in 30 seconds.
That's what he does.
It works.
So we're going to slow it down.
He does the reverse of slowing it down. He does that. And now we have one issue, and suddenly we have 50 issues that I can't even keep track of. They're all over the fucking place. And I'm like, I was just talking about the tiles in the bathroom.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you to redo that one that you just said and do it in parts language.
Right. Now define that. Since you jumbled the barrel.
Your zebra part.
Why do you think I want to knock it out in 30 seconds? Because I know she's finna jumble the barrel.
But before I've even had a chance to talk, this part starts throwing up all this stuff that isn't even related to the actual issue we're talking about.
But that's the way you come every time. That's why I'm going to knock this part out. Jaws, get her. Don't even let her take her next breath. Because you know she's finna jumble the next part. So if I can just... And then you can't... And do all the, you know, the Houdini stuff, then it's a wrap. Start over.
But you're doing the Houdini stuff. Your part is projecting that onto me when that's his technique.
It works.
So, Ra, what's coming up right now?
She did pretty good. She didn't dump the entire basket this time. So she's improving.
So I'm going to ask you to redo that in parts language.
You want me to redo what she just did?
No, but right now you're still using the she.
Okay, I violated that. I apologize for that. Anyway, like I was saying, she just tossed it up, you know, as if that was a straightforward answer.
So right there, Jessie, do you know what part that is that just did that threw all the parts around?
You mean my part?
Yeah, your
or
part.
his?
Your part.
Probably this one, because this part is trying to expose his parts' sneaky techniques.
Okay, so that one came up and did that. So now when you're talking, Ra, I want you to talk about her part that did that. I know it's hard.
She says it's a protector.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the mere instigator to just push it into a whole nother situation. Because it's not actually, that part is not actually answering to why she just flipped everything upside down. It's something going wrong. It's something going wrong. But what's going wrong?
So which part of you right now would you say is the one that's speaking?
It's this one.
Yeah, what's it saying?
It's saying, I'm out here, she can't hit me with that harpoon. Because I have a spokesman who's right on the beach that can speak for me.
Yeah, so this is the one that's speaking right now.
It's speaking right now because it's actually on the beach and it ain't slinging her all over the place.
Right.
It sees her throwing all this stuff up, but at the same time, he knows there's something else to it.
And he wants to get to that.
He wants to definitely get to that. Because if we don't get to the root, you know, we could keep throwing all these parts up. But if we don't grab the right part that's actually triggering all this stuff, see, that's the asshole.
No.
She says to protect her, but it's the irritating asshole who keeps doing the
But
same
this part
bothering
agrees
trick.
with what you're saying. This
I know
part
that's why
wants to
she
get
can
to
work
the
with.
root.
She can work well with it. She can initiate that protector, but she don't want that protector. She don't want my protector to show up. Oh, you know what it is? It's because my protector, when it comes, it doesn't play. It doesn't grab you, kind of push you around. It be like, I got you. It's a wrap. Now, what did you say?
So is it accurate to say that this part that's
Right.
speaking, it's the zebra part, right?
Right.
It's kind of feeling like she gets space to have her protectors.
Oh,
But
can we keep saying that?
But this part, the zebra feels like you're not getting space to have your protectors.
Period. Period.
So
Period.
is it okay if we just take a
Yes.
moment?
Please, let's.
Because I just want to make sure that you're still in a place where you can really hear.
Oh, I can hear a lot more. I love her every day. I love her. Don't know how asshole she got over there. I ain't with her.
Okay, so that's the one that I really want to know what part is that one that really perceives her protector and says that one's an asshole.
Because if you know something can trigger something, you're going to push that button. But then you're going to run behind all your little parts and be like, why you attacking me? I didn't really mean that. Because my protector, it has no definitive, okay, when it gets to this point, and then we're going to protect it. It's like, go, stop. It's not go, yield, kind of slow down, kind of look what's going on. No, it wants to just...
It's open or shut.
Yeah, because that's what a protector does. It doesn't want to take on all this damage, right? I mean, if you're going to hit me in the car, hit me and get me out the way. Don't hit me back up and hit me again, because a train doesn't do that.
So that's kind of how it feels with this part.
Exactly.
This is really what happens. It just comes up really fast, this whole dynamic.
Right. Fast figure eight track.
Yeah. So we're just trying to slow it down and really see what happens on each side. And so we're just going to keep going over it until we really get a clear understanding of what happens on both sides.
Okay.
All right. So Ra, are you feeling open to hearing what Jessie has to say about that part?
Always. This would be a good time to hear.
And I actually feel like there's a part there.
What part is that?
I don't know, but I just get a feeling. I'm just curious if you feel like there might be a part there.
Somewhat.
Yeah, want to pick a pupper for that part? Who's that?
It's the part my mother wants me to be. That's the part my mother wants me to be.
Tell me a little bit more about that part.
It's basically like you have to be vulnerable to some things that a woman throw out. You know, not be a pincushion, but absorb some of the things that she feels. That sometimes she feels she's not getting that just due. So, and that's my sarcastic way of saying, okay, my mother here, I'm gonna do the, you know. Because when you mention mothers and grandmothers, people get all sensitive, be like, okay, you know, mothers and grandmothers know best. So this is the sarcastic mommy part that pops up and goes, okay, I'll listen.
So it says, okay, I'll listen, but there's still something there that's still kind of protecting you.
Because I'm hoping there's something that in there that's gonna make me back down.
What do you mean?
You know, I mean, it's like having a guard dog at your gate, but the dog only knows to attack it when it tries to force its way into something. Whereas the owner comes out and says, hey, back down, he's a friend, you open the door, and there's no problem.
So this part is just kind of on the lookout.
Right, just on the lookout. But it wants to be, you know, it has a value to it, it has a good value to it.
Yeah. What is the good value of that part?
Mothers know best. You know, they instill all these things in, you know, especially sons. You know, you have a mother, you don't want to treat a woman a certain way, treat her like you would want to treat your mother. That type of instinct. So this is my, you know, wicked, sarcastic way of saying, okay, you're a woman, I know what women go through, I gotta listen and take some of this stuff. But I ain't gonna get tortured. Process.
So you tell me if this is accurate. Is there maybe another part that has some kind of reaction to her, that one on her finger right there?
My jackass.
What does he say?
Whatever she says, he's not going to agree with it. He's just going to go back at it. But in a humorous way. He's not going to attack you. He's just going to try to smash your credibility.
How's he going to do that?
Because, you know, I know Jessie and I know the good values in her. So if I start chopping away on some of the things that I know that's you, that's really you, and I know and you know that I know that's you, then you kind of go back up on your heels, and she's, you know, knowing Jessie, she's going to come back out with something. She's going to come with something. And that kind of creates a good dialogue sometimes in a twisted way.
So this part, you call it your jackass part.
Right.
And then there was a part of you that was saying that it thought that this part was an asshole.
You know, jackass is an asshole. They get along. For real.
Is it fair to say that your jackass part comes out when her... What do you call that part, Jessie?
The asshole. She know what it is.
Well,
We're
that's
just
what...
gonna call him the angry part.
The angry part. Okay. So would it be okay with you, Ra, if we call it the angry part?
Okay, that's cool. I can go with that.
So your jackass part comes out when the angry part comes out.
Right.
And then they get into it?
You know, actually, when her angry part and my jackass get together, good things do happen.
What happens?
The jackass can humor the angry part to the point where it goes, okay, that is funny, but it kind of brings the steam out of stuff. You know, just because, you know, the jackass is bouncing around, throwing, you know, trying to irritate the angry part, is really trying to say, I'm going to try to bring this down to try to really get into you and try to see why you angry. You know? Whereas if you think he on the attack, I'm not trying to attack you anymore. I've gotten off of that. You know, I've gotten off the attacking part long time ago. You just ain't notice it. Because you're so angry, you don't see the humor in what my jackass does. But it exposes the part of you that really doesn't really want to be mad no more. So you keep that angry part up to show defiance. I will not fail under stress. So it works to a certain degree, depending on what the situation is.
It works to a certain
To
degree.
a certain degree.
So that's how it is for the jackass part.
Yes.
That's how it feels.
Right.
Okay. And is it okay now if we see how that impacts Jessie?
No problem.
Okay. So then what comes up for you?
Well, the jackass part does make me laugh. And then when we're laughing, it's like we feel connected again. You know? And it's I start to remember that I actually do like my husband. But and then oftentimes once we start laughing, then we can start to have a dialogue where these parts aren't fighting against each other, you know, and it's just the two of us really talking about what's going on. And then, where's your whale?
It's under the chair.
He went up with the Jumbotron.
And then this part starts talking without these parts jumping all over the place, or this part, you know, throwing everything up in the air. And so then this part just talks to me, you know? And then sometimes I'm able to let some of my parts talk. But I think why this part keeps getting angry is that this is a pattern that happens over and over again. And it just feels like we end up working on this guy, but these guys don't ever really totally get expressed, because for these parts, all of this is a threat, because these parts might have something to say that go against this whole system's way of operating.
Got my mother over here.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disrespect her. So it's like they've got their way of doing things, you know? And you know, a part of me may notice, hey, this is not gonna work for us. It's not gonna work. And you know, my husband has been a bachelor for quite a long time, you know? I mean, even the last time he was married, he was still acting like a bachelor. So, you know,
Well, so can you rephrase that in parts language?
even when he was in his previous marriage, he had many parts that behaved as if they were not married. So, my parts do not want to be in a relationship that's not a partnership. We want to be in a marriage where there's compromise on both sides. But these parts get just so strong and come out so strong that this part gets angry, because it's like we never get to have our say. Because this guy is just, the whale is a really excellent choice, because this is a huge part of him.
Would it be helpful to just kind of look at the dynamic that we've identified so far? And you can let me know what you think is accurate and where I need to tweak it.
Okay.
All right. So first, you have, Jessie, you say something, bring something up, and then immediately, there's Jaws. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
He's right there, ready to go.
Right.
And off in the distance is also the whale.
Right.
And there's the zebra too, that really wants your side of things to be understood.
Right.
So then when Jaws comes up, immediately for you, there's a lot of parts that just really come out in response to Jaws. This whole section of them.
Yeah.
And can you just maybe pick them up one at a time and just name them?
The frustrated part, the overwhelmed part, and then the hopeless part.
Yeah. And so then in response to those guys, you have this.
It's kind of like a manager that's trying to be self, and it's like trying to find some way to communicate that doesn't trigger these parts. But it's like the more he tries to be calm and rational, these guys just keep on going, and that's when all the other stuff continues to get thrown.
So when that one feels like it's not being successful, then what happens is
This part feels like a martyr, because no matter how, you know, Christ-like we are, we're still gonna get slain. And so then this part comes up, and like all this comes to the back, and this part is the part that wants to throw my husband out the window or start swinging.
okay.
And then this manager comes in and takes us all out of the room so we can regroup before we draw blood.
And this all happens in 30 seconds?
Yeah, about a couple
Maybe over
minutes.
a couple minutes. I would say this first section happens in the first couple minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll get in this thing, and then it ratchets up another level, and that's when the second section happens. And then the third part is when I leave, because I'm just like, fuck this.
Quitter.
This guy's throwing all these other things up, and then when I leave, this part will follow me into the other room. And like I can go into 6 different rooms, and this part just keeps following me.
So the jackass part follows you, and eventually what happens?
I'll start laughing. I mean, I'll be mad for a while, and then finally I just can't be mad anymore.
Because this part loves her. He loves her.
Well, all these
Mad.
parts love you. It's not like even this part loves you. That's why I get so mad.
Jessie,
Sorry.
can I stop you for a sec?
Mm-hmm.
Because what I just noticed was
Mm-hmm.
that Ra, look at him, just give him a look for a sec. He was really saying, this part really loves you. What comes up for you? Just really being open to that.
It's hard to take it in.
Is it okay if we just stay with that? What's coming up right now?
It's hard to take it in because I know he loves me, but it's just the hopelessness makes it hard to take it in and believe in that.
How come?
Because I just sometimes don't know if we're ever going to make it right.
So that hopeless part is really here right now. Yeah. Well, and Ra, is it okay if that one just speaks a little more?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what is it saying?
I'm not trying to attack you. I'm just trying to let you know what's happening for me.
Yeah, I know that.
I don't want to hurt you. I'm not your enemy. I just want to build both of us up.
Yeah. One of my parts that you most commonly see is him, but in the end, this is the one that really carries the true feelings, the part that my mother instilled in me. This one right here is troublesome, I know that. You know, but this one right here, it's a means of using him as a communicator through something that I know that works, because I know you love to laugh. So, and I think the only way I can make you laugh is if I get into the jackass character, because you never know what's going to come out of his mouth, and even I don't know. So I just run with it sometimes.
So what's coming up for you right now, Jessie?
I mean, I can see that the hopelessness is a part of me, you know, and I know that's not necessarily the truth, but it sometimes does really, really, really feel that way. I just feel really overwhelmed by, you know, feeling like I don't know how to tell him what I need and what's going on for me without him, you know, parts of him feeling attacked, you know.
So I'm hearing that once you guys do this figure eight of the jaws coming up and then your parts coming up and you really getting around to the angry part, then so that's kind of the first loop, right? So really fast. Then the next loop is the jackass part chasing around the octopus, the leaving octopus part, right? So that's the second loop.
Right.
And you guys do that until it works. It does kind of get you off this roller coaster a little bit.
Yes,
Right.
it does.
It does. It gives
It calms us down and reconnects us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like she said, you know, still some gloss.
Exactly. So there's some other loops, some other figure eight that's going on that we just haven't gotten to yet. So we've just gone over some of the beginning patterns, But what you guys really, what I'm hearing both of you say is, I want to get to the deeper patterns that we're in.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's what your zebra part is saying. There's some deeper truths that we really want to get to, and that's what. Which part of you?
This part.
What do you call that part?
The watcher, I guess.
What is it watching?
It's watching all the shadows. No, it's not. It's watching everything. It's watching all the It's watching.
Just my jackass part.
No, it's even. It's looking at stuff that maybe my husband doesn't even see.
Sometimes I see him. I never said I didn't see him. Sometimes I may act like I don't want to see him.
I know.
So there's some deeper level.
Oh yeah.
That both of you guys, I'm hearing, you both really want to get to that.
Yeah.
So
because,
really,
because it brings up, you know, the definition of these sharks and all the other characters, the hopelessness and all the other things. Sometimes an octopus, I'll wait for the octopus to come in and whisper away, because that's my chance to bring jackass in and kind of bring it down, so it does make sense.
yeah. So what I'm hearing is that you both want to go deeper.
Oh yeah, it has to.
Yeah. And that's exactly where we can pick up next time.
I can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a team, you know? We're on the same team, and I just really want.
We just gonna stay off the beach for a while. How about that?
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to say?
Yeah, I just wish my husband would know that I'm really not against him.
Okay, so let's just check in with him. Do you know that, Rob?
Yeah, I know that. I wouldn't be here.
So, Jessie, are you hearing that?
I'm hearing it.
I wouldn't be here.
What's coming up for you, Jessie?
I mean, it's nice to hear that. It feels like he's being real.
Do you feel like you're taking it in?
Yeah.
Still love you, man.
So Jessie and Ra, I'm really excited about the progress that you guys have made in looking at the dynamics that come up between you. And I think I know, you tell me if this is accurate, that both of you really want to get into the deeper dynamics that are going on.
Right.
This has been an awesome exploration of what starts to happen between you. And next time when we come in, what I'd like to do is start to look at those deeper dynamics.
Okay.
And in the time in between now and our next session, what I'm going to invite you to do is to really work on speaking about the parts instead of you, her, him.
Okay.
That's my challenge for you.
We can work on that.
Yeah? And how's that sound for you, Jessie?
That sounds great.
Yeah, so just to really track that. And also, now that you guys know your dynamics, you can also bring a little bit more awareness to that and begin to speak about the parts that are involved in those dynamics as they come up as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
We can do that.
yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.